be adding some pellets to the hopper. This is probably going to be about an 8-hour cook. We're going to be cooking really hot today. They have the cooking pellets, perfect mix, which has hickory, cherry, some maple, and apple in it. I'm going to flatten that right down. Oh, lost a couple. Now I'm going to be taking my smoking tube. So I load that up. Put the smoking tube right in the pellets. And just drop them in. Once it's full, bring it over here and I lay it where I'm going to have it in the grill. Gonna lose a few onto the pan there. And now I'm going to use this coal starter. So we have the smoke tube lit. Coming up to temp, we're going to go to 265. This is going to be a fast cook today. Once we have this smoking, we're going to close down the lid. Let it run. Okay, so now that we started the smoke tube and we got the grill going, we're going to trim this pork so we can get it on there. This is going to be a really fast cook today, so I'm going to be cooking it at 265 so we can get it done in about 7 to 8 hours. Now down here I have this about 7.5 pound pork butt. We're going to take some of this fat off. I know a lot of people like to leave the fat cap. It's unnecessary when doing it like this. We're going to be wrapping it. That's going to give us all the juiciness we need. Typically, I like to start the pork butt out at about 225 degrees and get more smoke on it. I actually like cooking them on the Kamado grill a little bit better, but today, because of time, we're going to be cooking it on the pellet grill. I'm just taking off some layers of fat here. See, I'm just layering it down. It's good to have a nice sharp knife, and it's easier to trim the meat when it's a little cool. This meat just came out of the fridge not too long ago. Now, typically, I'd like to season this and let it sit overnight, but in this case, we just got this pork butt last night. Didn't have a chance to do that, so we're going to season it right now after the dog finishes his water. Season it right now. Let it come up to room temp while the grill comes up to temperature as well. Pork butt is a really resilient piece of meat. It's almost impossible to destroy it, to be honest. As long as you stay within certain parameters, it's going to come out very good. And I'm going to show you a couple ways that we're going to make it even tastier. Make some sauces and some coleslaw that go with this perfectly. Well, make one sauce, but use another sauce as well. You can see I'm trying not to take off any meat, but just getting down to the flesh here. Now the reason I'm doing this is you don't want this globular fat. We're going to be turning this into pulled pork, and we don't want this globular fat in there. Some people think that it magically transfers down into the meat, but it's actually that intramuscular marbled fat that provides the juiciness. And you can see this is a bone-in pork butt. That's my favorite type to use. Oh, don't get that in there. Just stab myself. And a little bit of fat on there is okay. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. There's a little bit of silver skin on here we can take off. Now we're getting down near the bone. See, I'm just riding right under the first layer there just to get the silver skin off. A lot of people will use a paper towel to hang on to this. If I need to, I'll grab the paper towel. And this isn't even necessary, to be honest. This is just, I'm doing this while the grill is coming up to temperature, and I really don't feel like pulling a whole bunch of junk out later when this is done. So I'm getting it ahead of time. This fat's all good. This will all render down. That's good enough for the fat side. This I'm barely even gonna touch. There's this one piece of silver skin here. I'm gonna get that off. This is actually a really nice pork butt. It's perfect for what I'm looking for. Some of this grandma skin. Don't call it grandma skin. Just get some of that ugly stuff out of there. Some of this really unruly, sinewy fat. I don't want to go too crazy here. I feel like I'm starting to go down a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. I'm just getting off what I can see. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to trim a lot. Here I go. But the beauty of pork butt, of doing one of these pork shoulders, is that it all renders down, and then you pull it and you can take out whatever pieces you don't want in there. The rest of that looks pretty good. We're right at the bottom there. I'll leave that alone. Okay, so step 2, and you can use oil, you can use any type of binder that you want. If you have some sort of a brine or something where it was already wet. We didn't brine this one. I'm just using yellow mustard. I'm gonna put just enough to get a layer on there. Now typically I have a specific way that I do these pork butts. I have a few homemade rubs, and I like the Killer Hogs products. Today we're switching it up a little bit. We're going to be using the Plowboys Yardbird rub. And this one has a really good taste on pork. Looking for a little bit saltier today. This one's got a good salt content. This is a big piece of meat, so I'm putting a good medium coat on there. And we're going to be wrapping this, so a lot of this might come off. Get all the different sides. Yeah, whatever. It's the front side when I have it turned this way. And this is the expedited version of this cook. I'm trying to get this done quick today. That mustard to your binder, that's a little too much, but that's okay. This is going to disappear in this mix anyways. Anyway. Forgot how to speak. This is gonna be good. It smells nice. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for a little while, let that rub really permeate into the muscles and into the meat, and let it bring some of the moisture out of the meat. And when I see that the rub is totally set, we're gonna go throw it on the grill. Okay, so we're putting this on the grill now. Pretty simple process. We're gonna leave it uncovered. Just let it go. So we're currently running at about 260. We got some good smoke from that tube coming out. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes. The rub is tacked on there, so I'm gonna start spritzing it a little bit. This is just a mixture of apple cider vinegar and water, half and half. And I'm just gonna spritz it on these little bits that might be getting a little dark because we're running it so hot today. You can use a mop, you can use whatever you want. Don't do what I just did where I hit the smoking pellets. But you want to try and get all the sides that are getting dark, then close it back down. Okay, so we're going to put a thermometer in now that it's going. You want to get it right in the middle of the meat there. Stay away from the bone. We've got it right about there. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours and we're gonna check how the roast is coming. It is getting nice looking. Smoke is still going. We are at about 120 internal, so it's still taking smoke. These kind of hunks of meat are gonna take smoke all the way up to about 140 degrees. As you can see, I'm pretty liberally throwing this apple cider vinegar and water on here now, just to try and get these pieces to not burn up. Just keeping it wet, making sure that it's cooling down a bit. Plus I wanted to cool the grill down. It's about 100 degrees here today in San Antonio, so the grill's running hot. I dropped it down to about 240 and it's still running up around 270. So we're gonna monitor it and keep it going for a few more hours. We're starting to see the color that we want to wrap it at. I'm going to give it one more nice squirt. Take some temps. This is, yep, nice. That's still low. Oh no, there it goes. Around 165, but really, that's right on the bone. Really, anything around 160, still a little bit loose on the inside. That's perfect though. We're going to wrap this up.
Rolling.
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 All right, so we're just going to transfer this over to wrap it up. I'm going to keep the probe in there. A lot of people ask about the difference between foil and butcher paper. I definitely use foil for horse flesh because you don't need to keep the integrity of the bark. That's really not the important part. The important part is to trap heat in. So you want to get it nice and tight. So I'm going to bring this over. Wrapping it twice, making sure that I got everything closed off and there's no holes that it's holding. You can spray it again. I just sprayed it. You can spray it again with whatever you want. You can put apple cider vinegar in there or whatever. I just wrap it up and put it back on here. And now we're going to try and break the stall. Okay, so something I forgot is I put it onto mode 2, which is the PID controller. We just want to keep the heat going steady now. I'm no longer going to be putting it on the alpha smoke because we don't need any more smoke. So we are at about 201 degrees. Okay, we might need to wait a little bit longer. That's nice. So what I'm doing here is probing to check how tough the meat is. Right there, we want that to go up to about 205. We're at 198 right now. So maybe about 20 more minutes or so. Okay, so internal showing at 206. We're actually going to unwrap it and measure it this time. Take a look at it. I've got these cotton glove inserts underneath the nitrile gloves that allow me to handle this, otherwise I'd be burning my hands. Looks pretty good. So I'm just probing for tenderness. See how that's like butter? It's going right through. That feels really, really good. It's a little tough right in the middle, but I don't want to bring it up too much higher. Yeah, that's right where we want it. Okay, I'm gonna take it off, put it on the cutting board. So this 7.5 pound butt, after we trimmed it up, was probably about 7 pounds. You can see the bone just slides right out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, nice and clean. That's perfect. And you can just sort of smash it in there. Now the cool thing about this is you don't really have to wait for too much of a cool down because the juices are still in the pan, so they'll reabsorb. But it is really hot, so I'm gonna give it a couple minutes.
Go.
All right, so now we're gonna try it out. We have two different types of sandwiches. We have our honey chipotle barbecue sauce mixed sandwich with the pickled onions and the bread and butter pickles. And then we have my classic North Carolina style, which has the apple cider vinegar based sauce with the slaw. I already know what this one tastes like. I'm gonna try the new one out. Ooh, it's messy. I'm getting that pickle in there. That is awesome. Let's see how this one came out. Ooh, sloppy. Perfect. I love that one. These are two awesome sandwiches. Try them both out.